Some moments stay with you forever. Not because they were loud or dramatic, but because a single sentence changed the way you looked at another person and yourself. The woman who accompanied me to one of the biggest charity galas of my life looked confident from the outside. She smiled, greeted everyone politely, and carried herself with quiet grace. But just before we walked through those grand ballroom doors, she leaned closer and whispered something I'll never forget. "I hope my age doesn't make people judge me." In that instant, I realized this night wasn't going to be about expensive suits, fancy dinners, or wealthy guests. It was going to become a lesson about kindness that changed my heart forever. Before we begin, welcome to Dream Diaries. If stories that restore your faith in humanity mean something to you, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us about a time when someone's kindness changed your life. Now, let's begin. It all started because my company needed someone to accompany me to a fundraising gala in Chicago. My longtime friend had canceled at the last minute after a family emergency, and I suddenly found myself with an extra invitation. The event supported local community centers and after-school programs. Hundreds of business owners, volunteers, teachers, and donors would attend. A co-worker suggested a professional social companion named Evelyn. She wasn't there to pretend to be someone she wasn't. Her job was simply to accompany clients to events where having company made conversations easier. When Evelyn arrived at the hotel lobby, I noticed something immediately. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She wore a beautiful navy blue dress that was elegant without being flashy. Her smile felt genuine. Instead of talking about herself, she asked thoughtful questions about the charity we were supporting. During the drive to the ballroom, we talked about books, family traditions, and our favorite small-town diners. She laughed easily, but every now and then, I noticed a quiet sadness in her eyes. When our car stopped outside the venue, photographers gathered near the entrance. That was when Evelyn quietly asked, "I hope my age doesn't make people judge me." I looked at her with surprise. "Why would it?" She gave a small smile. "Because people often assume older women don't belong at glamorous events unless they're someone's relative. I've learned that many people judge before they even say hello." Her words stayed with me as we entered the ballroom. Inside, crystal chandeliers lit the room with warm golden light. Soft music floated through the air while servers carried trays of sparkling drinks. Almost immediately, I noticed what she meant. Some guests smiled warmly. Others glanced at Evelyn, then at me, with expressions that silently asked questions. I felt embarrassed not because of Evelyn, but because I realized how quickly people form opinions based on appearances. Instead of letting those looks bother her, Evelyn greeted everyone with kindness. She thanked every server. She complimented the musicians. She remembered people's names after hearing them only once. Within an hour, something remarkable happened. People naturally gathered around her. Not because of her dress. Not because of her age. Because she made everyone feel important. During dinner, she noticed one of the young waiters accidentally spill water on a table. His face turned bright red. Several guests frowned impatiently. Before anyone could criticize him, Evelyn smiled kindly. "It's only water," she said gently. "Accidents happen to all of us." The waiter looked as though someone had lifted a heavy weight off his shoulders. Later, I saw him smiling for the first time that evening. As the night continued, the charity organizer stepped onto the stage to thank everyone for attending. She explained that donations had fallen behind expectations. The room grew quiet. People applauded politely, but few seemed ready to give more. Then something unexpected happened. Evelyn stood. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't famous. She simply shared a story. "When I was raising my son alone," she began, "our local community center gave him a safe place after school. The volunteers there probably never realized they were changing two lives instead of one. You could have heard a pin drop. She continued. My son grew into a wonderful teacher because strangers chose kindness before they even knew his name. Tonight isn't about writing the biggest check. It's about believing another child deserves the same chance. When she finished, the room remained silent for several seconds. Then people stood and applauded. Not because she had delivered a perfect speech. Because every word came from the heart. The donations that followed exceeded the evening's original goal. Business owners who had planned modest gifts doubled them. Families contributed more than they expected. One retired couple quietly pledged enough money to renovate a children's reading room. All because one woman reminded everyone why they had gathered. On the drive home, I thanked Evelyn. She smiled. I didn't do anything special. I laughed. I think you changed the entire evening. She looked out the window. My grandmother always told me kindness is the only thing people remember after everything else fades. Months passed. Life became busy again. One afternoon, I received an invitation to visit the community center that had benefited from the fundraiser. Children filled the building with laughter. Fresh paint brightened the classrooms. New computers lined one wall. The library shelves overflowed with books. A small plaque near the entrance thanked everyone who had supported the project. As I walked through the building, I saw a familiar face. It was the same young waiter from the gala. He recognized me immediately. He explained that after Evelyn's kindness that evening, he had found the confidence to apply for a volunteer position at the center. That volunteer work eventually led him to a full-time career mentoring teenagers. I almost quit my job that night, he admitted. But one stranger treated me with respect when I felt embarrassed. That changed everything. I stood there speechless. A single act of kindness had created another. Then another. Then another. Before leaving, I called Evelyn to tell her what had happened. She laughed softly. You see, she said. Kindness travels farther than we ever get to watch. Those words have stayed with me ever since. Today, whenever I attend important meetings or crowded events, I remember that glamorous ballroom. I remember the whispered sentence that revealed a hidden fear. I remember how easily people judge what they don't understand. Most of all, I remember that every person we meet is carrying a story we cannot see. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is quietly wondering whether they belong. Sometimes the smile we overlook has survived years of hardship. Sometimes one gentle sentence is enough to change the direction of another person's life. The greatest lesson from that evening wasn't about charity. It wasn't about money. It wasn't even about appearances. It was about choosing kindness before making assumptions. Every day, we meet people who hope someone will see them beyond their age, job, clothes, or background. We all have the chance to become that person. The next time you notice someone standing alone, offer a smile. The next time someone makes a mistake, respond with patience instead of judgment. The next time you have the opportunity to encourage someone, don't wait. Small acts of kindness rarely stay small. They grow. They spread. They reach people we'll never meet. And sometimes, they return to us in ways we never imagined. Thank you for spending this time with Dream Diaries. If this story touched your heart, remember to share kindness wherever you go. You never know whose life might change because of one compassionate word, one patient moment, or one simple act of understanding. Together, we can make the world a little warmer, one kind heart at a time.